One was walking accurately at that time. She just wanted to punch that fake man. She hated to see him, always wanted to throw up after seeing him. He deserved all hate. But girls went crazy over him just because of richness and style. He had a very rocky style which made him famous among girls, but Vine hated him. She thought that was his real voice. He spoke in a very deep voice just to interact girls. She Vine disturbed him so much and he ignored her because he didn't want to say anything to her. She made fun of his voice and even his personality, even knowing that the relationship between them. She just loved to disturb him as knowing him was her favorite thing. Now she was walking like she lost something, but she was just angry. While walking, she bumped into him. She looked at her. He looked and she just ignored him while he looked at her and his friends and said, "Why does he show you attitude?" His friend asked, "Because she wants me." No. Janko, don't act like a lover boy. This doesn't suit you. Yeah, let's go. I don't take her. I hate. Seriously, they started walking. After Cosman was sitting on the couch while munching the chips, she just hated the pop of him of her being with him. He was her fiance. She didn't have a problem with him before, but when he became her fiance, she started to dislike him. She started to notice his behavior. He was very annoying, and she liked calm and charming ones. It was not like Vine was also rich, but she was not. She was not him. She thought that showing was a bad thing. That's why she got annoyed by him. The relationship of them fixed by their parents. They thought that they would be a good together because they both were so beautiful. She grabbed her cell phone and started scrolling. Suddenly, she heard the laugh of his girl best friend. Vine looked outside the window and saw her standing in front of his hut. Vine and Jungkook were neighbors also. She was laughing, and it was making Vine's blood boil. She was also cheap as him. Vine immediately closed the window because she didn't want to see him. She didn't care about him because she didn't like him. She again started scrolling. Her days passed like this. There was a party in his house, but she didn't look at it because she didn't care about him and his useless party. The next day, one was passing by him and he was staring at her. He rolled her eyes and at him and he made a weird face. He wanted to show him the middle finger, but because of the relationship, she stopped. Hailey was standing beside him and she passed by and a smile, but Vine knew that Hailey was faking it. In the classroom, Vine was sitting with the nerd of the class. He was a shy boy and Vine always encouraged him. But Janku didn't like that. Now Vine was talking to him while Janku was looking at Kavil. Look at that snail. Kavil just looked at him and laughed. If it disturbs you, then tell me. It didn't disturb me. Thank you for saving me, Dad. It's okay. She smiled and she looked at the board and she saw him staring at her. She rolled her eyes and he turned his face while smiling. Vine came out of this class and saw was standing there like a hero. She walked past by him. Jahan was with him, and he walked wanted to punch Jahan. They started walking towards the cafeteria. She sat down here and he sat down with his group in front of her. She didn't take them seriously because she knew it was his to follow like that. Everything was going well, but then Janko started making fun of Jian. Janko wanted her to talk to him like she talked to Jian. So just because of this, he started making fun of him. Jian looked at him and all his friends started laughing. Wan looked at Jian and signed him to not to take them seriously. Hey, like, why? How can you look in the mirror without vomiting? Like you do, I always think how you see a mirror without throwing up, or how a mirror bears you or ugliness. I'm sorry. I'm feeling so sorry for the mirror. Do you ever see yourself? If you do, then how can you have style? I don't understand what girl likes in you. I don't even like. And this man too is hard. I hate your hair. Why you colored them fake hair? Everyone there started looking at them. I like your bark and keep it up. Oh really? He got up and sat in front of her. Now tell me in detail what you hate so I can love it more. You are just overconfident. I hate everything about you. Your hair, your eyes, and your style. People like you don't only love themselves. Let me tell you that you look ugly in your freckles. Just like you, baby, he loved. You are just a baby who loves to fight with their favorites. You are not my favorites. I'd rather be thrown up than choosing you my favorite. Now shut your mouth and gut. She was on the verge of bursting her. She easily got up. And after seeing she didn't stop. He looked at her in the eyes, his eyes full of rage. He clenched his face. Nobody there even touched him. She was the one he was looking at her with shoots as he controlled himself and got up. His friends also got up and left. She overreacted. Their fight was childish. Now Janko was sitting on the couch while staring at the floor. He wasn't accepted that from Ryan. He didn't know that she hated him so much. He was very stubborn and was ready to do something worse with her. He didn't care about his feelings. He believed in equality. Ryan shouldn't have insulted him just because of an ordinary boy. He was his fiancé and she didn't care about it. The next day Ryan was walking. She wasn't scared of him and was about to walk towards the class, but someone pulled her inside the room. And one opened her eyes and he was sitting on the chair while looking at her. His friends were beside him while smoking. She confidently stood in front of him. And what do you want now? Just tell me, do you hate me? She smiled, and yes, and why do you pull me here? To give you the reason for hating me. His eyes smiled. He got up and walked towards her, and instead she stepped back. He stood in front of her. Now, from now, you have to do every work of Hailey. Johan is important for now. Hailey is important for me. Now start your work. Why would I listen to you? Why to order me? Now the decision is yours. Do you want to save him? Don't forget I'm your friend. So really, but you forgot yesterday. Now start doing your work. Haley smirked and Ryan, go and take coffee for me and leave it in the class. Ryan looked at him. Do you really want me to do this? She smiled softly. Now go if you want to save him from me. She looked at Jian and ran out. She didn't want him to beat him, so she was ready to do. Immediately brought the coffee and he came into the class. She put the coffee in front of Haley and while breathing heavily, all the class were looking at her. No, I don't want to drink, so buy me juice. Haley, just take it, Ryan. Don't do what I want. Now Haley was walking ahead of Ryan while Ryan was holding the juice behind her. Everyone was looking at her with their eyes. Haley stopped and looked at Ryan. Ryan, can you tie my shoelace? Why you have to do this? Ryan tied the and everyone was looking at them. They came out and Django was sitting on the bench. Haley walked towards him and sat down beside him. He looked at Ryan. Now what do you want? I just stand here. Ryan looked at Django. She turned his gaze. He turned his gaze. He didn't want to look into her beautiful eyes. She stood there. They were laughing. Janku tell her to stand one, stand up, do what Haley is saying. It's too much arts man has filled with tears. Why are you doing this? You wanted me to do this. After college one was about to stand the stairs but Haley pushed her and she fell down in front of everyone. Everyone started laughing. Janku was not there. Ryan got up and ran out. Ryan entered the house while crying. Her father got up and what happened? He asked. She walked towards him and hugged him while crying. Her father loved her so much he became very. Tell me what happened. Her mother was also there. She wiped her tears and told her father everything. Her father started burning in anger. Do you want to break the engagement? One nodded. One after and was so happy. Her father promised to her that he would transfer to another college. She became happy and finally she didn't see him and where she wanted to divorce with him. Her father broke the engagement and Brijanko didn't say anything because he knew that she hated him. He had so many ways to make her, but he stopped because he thought that he wished he wouldn't love her. He did what he wanted. Now they were strangers to each other. He couldn't bear the insult, and now she wouldn't bear the insult. But Mayan was burning in anger. She wanted to divorce. She hated him so much. She did try to give me the reason for hating him more. I will destroy you. You will bang me. Just say. Days passed like this, and she found new friends. She heard that after her, he didn't bully Jehan. She was happy because she made new friends. Her life was going well, but one day she came back home and saw her mother crying. She didn't understand anything she ran to her, but then she saw her father's body on a structure. He got into an accident and died. She said she didn't understand what had happened to her as her mind went black. When lost her consciousness, she couldn't bear the pain. She loved her father so much. After that, she and mother went to another city. Wine came and started controlling the company at a very young age. Her father's secretary was so kind and good. He helped her so much. He was very faithful. She started to put different things in her face for breakfast. She didn't like them. When Janko talked about them, he hit her insecurity. Now she was crying while looking at herself. Her father was ringing in her mind. She called her pretty princess. After his death, she started to feel ugly. Her mother was in so much grief. She never wanted to see him, but she still remembered himself. She wanted to deal with the financial problem, and then she when you think about that incident, she got her friends and put her concentrate on business. Many years had passed and now one was sitting in the company. She was looking outside while drinking the water. She stopped drinking coffee after that incident. She looked at the water and after sunlight, Mr. Johan entered. She smiled and he sat down in front of her. He was her father's secretary. Good morning. How is your day going? Good. She nodded. She had a crush on Mr. Johan. He was older than her. She was and he was. She didn't care about the age gap, but she hesitated and never think about it. One started to love and I was the only person who was with her in her heart time, but Johan knew about that. The night they were walking, one was holding this hot sugar. She was happy to walk beside him. She looked at him and smiling. And when will you get married? Do you think about it? I didn't find a girl, right? Really, she might be around you. He smiled and couldn't see her. Don't worry, you will see her soon when she proposes to you. I don't want to marry now, okay? You need to find a rich wife for you. I really found it, so I don't care. She started walking. He didn't want her to like him because he was older than her. He wanted to marry a rich boy who gave her everything. After 2 weeks, Joan and Goyan came to Seoul to present the new present among the businessmen. She was so nervous but was happy that she had Joan by her side. She was looking elegant. She was wearing light blue. She came and sat down between the businessmen. She didn't know that Junker would also came. Once her heartbeat increased as she felt the connection between them. More the flashback started coming to her mind. She turned her gaze. I didn't want to look at him. Mr. Johan was beside her and he didn't know about their relationship. He sat down and his father, and then the show started, everyone presenting their projects. But his beautiful eyes and hairs were attracting her so much. He became so handsome. He changed his style and was looking so dashing. She didn't show him that she still remembered him. She presented and company and everyone clapped him. Janko clapped so hard while smiling. Yeah, she looked at him and turned her gaze. Mr. John looked at him and felt something as he knew that they both were together at once. After that, when I was about to go out, Mr. Johan was in the car. She walked past by him and when he called her, she stopped and looked at him. We see each other after years. How are you? I'm okay. I want to talk to you. I have a deal for both of us. If you got interested, then call me. I will think about it. She walked out. He sat down in the car and he was still in her mind. She changed so much. His behavior was so good and still she didn't forget the insult. All these things started coming into her mind as she closed her eyes. Are you okay, Mr. Joanna? She looked at him and nodded and then she kept quiet all the time. Mr. Joanna needed something when was wrong with her, but he didn't ask. He realized that it was because of Junko. He thought that she still loved Junko. She came back and laid down. All the time she thought about his idea. She didn't want to see his face, but just of the insult. She also wanted to do something, so she wanted to agree with him. She was making a plan, and also Janko was so famous and rich, so it was easy for her. The next morning, while I was sleeping, suddenly her cell phone started ringing. Mr. Johan was calling her. She picked up the call, and he told her that the sale of the company increased as they were buying it. But how Joy represented? She went to her company and saw everything. Mr. Joy represented her company and she liked her work so much. He also invited her. Mr. John gave her advice to go because he would help her to increase the rating. She agreed to go, but after a month she wanted to think. After a month, when finally one made her when she was ready to go there, she made a plan and her plan was to attract Janku. She wanted him to fall in love with her. She wore the dress and was looking beautiful. She sat down in the car and with Mr. John. She didn't tell him anything. He came and the guard opened the door for us. The guard asked Mr. Johan to go to another apartment to meet. Mr. Johan, she entered and looked at the beautiful apartment. She could see the world outside. She walked towards the window and looked outside. She smiled suddenly. He came, that's it. She nodded and they sat down. He was looking at her. She sat in front of him. So I want to talk about business. We can a contract and said this will help your company to rise. She noticed he couldn't have this stamina to look at her because she was looking very pretty. At first he talked about business and then when will you marry my son? I knows what happened between you and knows everything. Changed. I always wanted to see me as as doctor-in-law. He will not do that again. When I looked at Jungkook and he was looking down my Joy believed that man will not agree, but she agreed. Young was also surprised. He thought that she forgot everything and moved on. His father was very happy because he wanted to fulfill the wish of his world. There's when he knew that her father broke the engagement because of his business behavior, but her father always wanted to do that. They came back from there. Mr. John didn't say anything as he thought that she still loved Jungkook. He was feeling bad, but he didn't understand why did he start liking her. One was ready to repeat everything. She knew that John didn't take her seriously, and also she wanted to marry Jungkook. She was ready to the same which he did years ago. After a month, the day had arrived when they both got married, and he was standing at the altar waiting. As he was walking towards him while holding his father's arm, she was feeling weird. She never imagined him as her husband. Everyone was good except Hailey. He broke the and he smiled. She was staring into his eyes. They looked at the photograph and a quick of them clipped. Everything gave them gifts, and she was happy to see many old people and many old friends of her. They came back and this was her new house. She liked it. He was behind her. They walked into the room. She didn't pretend that she hated him. She looked at him after entering the room. He walked closer to her and leaned towards her. He covered her face and they both fell down on the bed. The next morning, Ryan was sitting in between so many people as they were leaving. Having breakfast, he was holding it and behaved so well. He wasn't that cheap, but used to show off everything. He changed so much, so he was changed just for her. Haley was there. She was burning in jealousy after seeing them. Haley entered her house and threw her bag again. She was in so much anger. She was so jealous and couldn't see them together. Kevin was looking at her. Kevin, so he married her. Why? He liked her. Why from the start? Why didn't he express? Emma, you still like him. He always treats you like a friend. It's your mistake. I thought that I was special, but he was still in love with her. When she left him, I was a bit finally no one could come in between us, but she came back and I married her without telling anyone. He called me and gave me the surprise. I thought that I would be happy after hearing the surprise. At night, Mine was standing by looking out and he came and kissed her on the neck. She looked at him and smiled. I thought that he would spend the night out. Why I wanted to spend every night with you. He smiled and hugged her. She was acting to be a good person while his feelings was genuine. He picked her up and let's go, and then he showed her a surprise. She was feeling good. She didn't want to, but was feeling so good after so many years. Felt happiness. He was happy with her as he was ready to tell her everything, even his secrets. After 1 month, he was on a business trip, and today he was coming back. The door opened and he entered. He ran towards him and jumped over him. He picked her up and wrapped her legs around him. She was giggling and kissed her cheek. I have a surprise for you again, he nodded. She touched him and he always gave her every day. He stood behind her. Do you like it? She nodded, and I know you loved them. She looked at him. How do you know? She asked. I know from the start. She narrowed her eyes and he laughed and kissed her. He again picked her up. Now it's time for my surprise. 1 month has passed and no one talked about Dad, but today he wanted to talk about her or about Dad. He was laying in her lap as she was kissing his face. Why did you trade Freckles fade? I said those things because you were saying harsh things to me. One, those words are not real. I love everything about you. I was jealous why you always take it such. You never behave well with me. You treated me so. I started to feel jealous. I started doing those things to get your attention. Why you always do this? I was wrong, but you were also wrong. She slapped me because out of hate and made me realize that I was no one in front of Jehan. I thought that if you hated me, then you would never love me if I did. 2 months later, Janko and Mine was sitting here while he was eating at the strawberries. They were looking like a happy couple and perfect. He apologized to her so many times she didn't say anything. He was happy that she was with him. They were busy, but suddenly Harry entered. Why? I came here to meet your wife. She walked towards him. So why? And I want to ask you a question. What benefit do you have with him? I mean, you come back just because of something. I believe I'm just looking at her. What are you saying, Haley? Janko, you don't know her. She's a witch. Tell her the truth. Which what you want from me? Why you come back after your father's death? You wanted money, a poor guy. Once I waited with tears, he got up angry. He yanked her hand and Janko, so say sorry to my wife right now. He shouted at her. Janko, believe me. I said I apologized. Why you hurt her? Because she was hurting you. I can't see you crying. She hugged him and smiled. I was feeling so. After that, they were leaving happy. Like he was happy that she forgave him and forgot everything. Now he was sitting here while doing his work. She entered and walked towards him. She sat down and the arm of the chair was wrapped her arms around him. She frowned and after seeing the files, what is this? There was very important files and the power of mind. What if someone deleted those files and burned them? He cut her words. I will. No one is important more to me than this. You will kill. Even that person is so close to me. I can't bear the falling of my building. She nodded and sat there while looking at them. 4 months later, mine was holding the test. Her heartbeat was so bad she wasn't ready to for this. Her hands started shivering as she remembered his words. She wanted to leave him before he knows about the files, but she threw the test in the drawer and went towards her room. And now they were sitting in the car. One was not feeling well. Her face was blank while he was happy. He looked at her, noticed her expression. He cupped her face. And what happened? Are you okay? She nodded. As her hand was shivering, he held them. And what happened? Just because of the weather. He smiled and pulled her into his coat. Here everyone was presenting their work. Everyone was looking at the screen and then Joy going to present. He was smiling because he worked for it without sleeping. His father was sitting there just prouding of his son. His psychiatry plus their system and was ready to see what project was there was nothing. His father face was when he realized someone deleted his son's important projects. He got up and walked towards him when Janko was so panicked and getting so much angry. Kelly was looking at them. She realized what had happened to her. She also knew it was important for Janko. Everyone there started talking and laughing when closer as Janko stood in front of her. He was feeling so loser. His heart started spinning. He couldn't bear the insult. He opened his upper button and took a deep breath.